All right. Hi, everybody. So what I want to talk about today with you all is why the heck creative careers feel so difficult to navigate, and what you might be feeling right now, or at any point in your career as you try to figure out what's next. Because I think for all of us, we want to change, we want to grow. And when that feels stifled, or we feel like we're on the wrong path, then all of these feelings and pain points kind of start popping up for us. So for many of you, if you're like me, you probably went to college or did some sort of training program, and it was this awesome, safe world where you got to learn all about this craft and this industry or this program or this degree or this career that you were really, really interested in. And then you stepped out into the real world and you're like, great, I know what I'm doing. I got my rose-colored glasses on. I got all those hopes and dreams, and I'm going to go for it. And you did. You hustled, you grinded, like you kind of just figured out, how do I make this happen? How do I make this work? And you cut corners. You kind of just did anything you possibly could to follow this success path that you were told to follow. And at one point in time, you probably stopped enjoying the process. So maybe you woke up one day and you didn't want to go to that audition, or you didn't really want to write that book that you were told you had to, or you didn't want to paint that painting, or you just didn't feel like it anymore, and you were kind of like wondering, what's the point? What am I even working towards? Maybe you even started looking around you at the people and you saw that they were so happy with what they were doing every single day. And you realized that's not me. And maybe something about the process or the everyday just wasn't energizing you in the same way. And okay, so maybe you power through and shift your strategy. I know that's what I did next. And you're like, okay, maybe I can just change my approach to what I'm doing. And maybe that worked for a little bit of while. But eventually one day you find yourself floundering. And you take a look at the people around you in your network, in your circle, and you kind of take this big picture look at the forest and their lives. And you realize it's not the life you want. You realize what you're going to have to sacrifice and what it's going to take, or what that life is going to look like. And you suddenly put two and two together and you're like, wait, I don't want that. And you start to wonder if it's you, if you're not good enough, if you're not worthy, if you failed somehow. And you start doubting yourself, doubting that you're talented, doubting that you have any sort of skill sets. And slowly but surely, maybe you start settling for really small, easy to get things and projects that at the end of the day, you're not even that excited about. But in a way, it feels like some sort of validation of your skill sets and your identity. And you're like, yes, I'm still this thing because I'm doing this thing. And slowly but surely, though, your energy keeps draining. People can tell that you're unhappy. You probably have a day job or that you're showing up to that you hate. And you just feel like you're not getting anywhere. And this piece of your identity is slowly just drifting away from you, and you're trying so hard to hold on to it, and you're so afraid that you're going to look like a failure, or maybe people are going to think you can't cut it out, or you settled, or you feel like you're going to have to walk away from your creative craft altogether. And that's simply not true. Maybe I think you also realize that you want a family, or you want to be able to travel, or you want financial success. You have all these wants and needs and desires that just don't line up with this path that you're on, as career path. And so where all this comes from is we are often told a very narrow vision of what it would be to succeed, especially in college programs, or kind of, we just have this very small view of the world, and we're like, okay, if I want to be a creative, if I want to do this thing that I love, this is the only way to do it. And what you have to understand about your creative craft and your creative skill sets is there are so many smaller pieces that go into that. And your talent and your skills and your strengths are so much broader than that. And there are thousands and thousands and thousands of ways that you can still use the things you love, do the things you love, in a way that is actually going to work for you. And so I think oftentimes we start feeling lost and burned out and stuck, and we're like, what in the world is next? Because we feel like we've lost a piece of our identity, but we've lost a piece of our identity because it's no longer a pathway that's building towards this version of success that we want. We ended up on this path that's building towards this vision and this dream of a life that we don't want. And that's because we weren't honest with ourselves about our wants, needs, desires, and we put those on the back burner. Not realizing that sacrificing all those things is also sacrificing a piece of ourselves. We thought that we had to sacrifice those things in order to be a creative, because oftentimes it is an either or situation. But what I love about creatives is there are so many other creative outlets and creative versions of the life you can create for yourself. And you, of all people, have the skills to put that together and to build that life for yourself. I also think all of these things start happening because we haven't done the personal work. We haven't been honest with ourselves. We kind of have just been scraping together. Oftentimes in these creative industries, there's this very big scarcity mindset of you have to say yes to everything. Just keep going, just keep hustling. And all of that can lead to burnout if you're not enjoying the process. And what happens is when you lose a little pieces of yourself along the way and you're not constantly checking in, there is a lot of personal work and soul work that you have to do in order to figure out what in the world is next in my career. All of these are places that I myself have been in. I have felt lost. I have felt overwhelmed. I have been like, okay, let's just re-strategize. Let's get a new day job. Let's tweak this, tweak that. And eventually you tweak things to the point where you're like, nope, I need a big change. And that's, all of us have been there. So I want to invite you to follow me on Instagram if you are not already. A lot of these things are the things that I'm talking about. I'm going to be releasing some more videos talking about these problems that we all face when we're trying to navigate these careers. So follow me on Instagram, and if you're feeling really, really brave, send me a DM and let me know what you're feeling. What are you struggling with? How are you feeling about your career right now? And let's chat. I promise I don't bite. Bye, guys.